Can you guys hear me? Dig this.
G'day guys, we are live here on the Home Invest School podcast. I've got a couple of special guests today, not just one. We get two for the price of one today. But before I introduce them, remember to go to the YouTube channel, bang the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can become part of the family, the Home Invest family, social media blueprint family. And if you're watching on Facebook, smash the like button and the heart button to get our guests excited for coming on, show a bit of love, show a bit of appreciation. And just before I introduce them too, I know that the 3-day challenge is going. So a lot of people from the Home Invest social media blueprint world are over there. So shout out to them for the team for making it happen and for all the people that have committed to go. Good stuff. And without any further ado, I think we've had some likes and some hits of the love button. So that's good. Without any further ado, I'm going to introduce two guys who have been through the social media blueprint and been through the Home Invest system and have come out the other side and are out there crushing it in their real estate business at the moment. They're two young entrepreneurs, they're brothers and they're business partners. So it's all in, just like in the backyard back in the day when they were kids. Probably highly competitive. So that's always good. And it's Ryan and Austin Hill. So welcome guys. Thanks for coming into the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Now
I'm sure whoever hit that love button, that was probably for Ryan with his good looks over there.
Well, that's right. Now you both got different looks. You're going a bit of the Kurt Cobain look, and he's going a bit more of the Tom Cruise, the slick sort of. So it's good. At least we can tell you apart. At least these aren't twins. You get some twins, and you have all sorts of problems. But that's good. He's giving you a compliment off the bat, Ryan. I don't know whether that's just a false sense of security, but we'll see how this goes.
I'd like to hear Austin's best Kurt Cobain, song and dance before we hop off today.
Yeah. Well, we may be able to. He's got a bit of the grunge going, hasn't he? So, all right, guys, let's get into it. I want you guys. You can take turns. Firstly, I'm going to have to explain. Ryan is up the top, and Austin is down the bottom. For some reason, the names haven't come up, but we'll work through that. Now, take it in turns, chip in, whatever you have to do. Just give us your backstory before you got into real estate, what you guys were actually out there doing.
Yeah, I'll take this one, Austin. I was working at Charles Schwab. I had 3 different jobs at Charles Schwab. Started as an unregistered broker and worked my way through doing a year of equity trades, and then moved into our stock plan services. So I was managing calls and servicing accounts for people, for example, that worked at NVIDIA and had a bunch of stock options that they had tax questions on, or what strategies that they wanted to work through. Then I got into financial planning at Schwab. That was kind of more of a career role. And while I was doing that role, Austin and I and a third business partner started working on a tech company, pretty part-time. But after about a year in that department, I decided to go full-time with the tech company. Austin continued working his sales engineer job at Johnson Controls. I think he was there, 6 or 7 years, Austin?
7 years, yeah.
And so he was supporting me full-time. And I was doing some odd jobs, renting out my car, driving Uber, delivering food, all that stuff as we tried to grow the tech company. We put enough money and time into it after about a year for us to start looking at other options. And at the time, I joined Toastmasters, which is a public speaking group. And one of our good friends now was a guy that I met, and he was a real estate investor. And he was a real estate investing coach as well. So he started taking us out for beers and showing us the ropes. That's kind of our introduction into real estate.
Beautiful. Very handy. Very great contact to run into. And
yeah, he's a great guy. He was in my wedding.
What you guys, have done is perfectly set you up for the real estate world, in that you've picked up a heap of different skills along the way that you can use in your real estate business. And even like the Uber stuff, it's making stuff happen, doing what you need to do to make stuff happen. So all of these skills obviously have set you up for the real estate world. And then obviously you've met some people. And just take us to the next step. We'll get Austin. Where did it sort of crank up from there, where you actually went, yeah, we want to do this real estate? Was it through that guy that you met at Toastmasters, or how did it excel from there, where you said, let's do this full time? Or, even
initially we were still working on the tech company that we had, and the goal was we were going to make a bunch of money in real estate to fund the tech company. Okay. And once we got into it and started realizing, like, well, this actually may not be, not that it's easy. The first property we ever did, we got burned on. But after that, it started making a little more money and becoming more lucrative. And not that we had this like crazy cash flowing inventory, but we got in basically right at the beginning of COVID. And then when our properties appreciated, we had 2 properties double, 1 triple in value. We kind of cashed out, took that as an opportunity to sync up with the mastermind here, and just really started investing. And I quit my job, went full time, and that's when things really started ramping up.
Beautiful. So, I mean, I remember at that time when COVID hit, the uncertainty in the real estate market, predictions were it's going to go downhill and everything. So it's pretty brave. Like, you guys jumped in and you stuck at it, and we know what's history now. Things went up dramatically. So that was I don't know at the time how you felt, whether you were feeling a bit vulnerable at the time, thinking, oh, what's going to happen? But you took a chance, you put the work in and paid off. So that set you up to be able to go and do the next stage. And you talk about a mastermind. How important was that, especially with networking with people at a high level? Was that pretty important to get you to the next level?
Yep. I think that when we sold those properties, we sold those properties down in Huntsville, Alabama. And that was last November. We were having a conversation about how awesome it was, but basically anyone could have won in our situation, especially buying at the beginning of COVID. Probably even better if you bought back at the, latter end of the recession. Yeah. But we just knew that we couldn't repeat what we had created. So we had to find a process out there that was going to be something that we could repeat and be a cash flowing business from the start.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a very smart move. You sort of thought, well, I mean, you still had to take the risk. So you got to give yourself credit there. You put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And like you said, though, you thought that's not going to happen again. We're not going to get that sort of appreciation in the future, like from now onwards. You would think. You never know. We haven't got a crystal ball. But then you've gone out and you've said, right, what's going to be our strategy? So you sort of niche down, and that's where your business is now. Do you want to give us just a bit of an overview of your business, of what you sort of are doing? And you don't have to share your trade secrets, but just like sort of the overview of how the business works and what I suppose niche and what system you're using at the moment.
Yeah. So we got and I should note too, the COVID deal, we actually, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were working on it before COVID. And then it just happened where right in the beginning of COVID was when we were going to close on them. It's a seller finance deal, cash flowing properties. So we felt pretty good about riding it through, even cash flow, even though we had ended up having a couple tenants not pay during the course of that, but that was COVID. Right now, our business, in the last 6 months, we've bought 5 properties, and all of those were with passive investors involved. And it's really allowing us to fund our business. We continue to get management fees, and we're able to, really just keep our business afloat while we're building up that cash flowing backlog. And the eventual goal is, we've got basic expenses as far as our salaries, and then we've got the, we've got accounting, software, tech fees, all kinds of stuff. And the goal is to get our rent roll up to where we can cover all of that. And then as we get these management fees and whatnot, that'll be how we pay ourselves. And we're starting to get bigger. We've got a 5-plex under contract right now. Should be closing on that in about 30 days. Currently looking for an investor on it. If anyone's listening, hit us up at the Hillbro Show.
It's a really good
But,
return too.
It's a great return.
Definitely give it a plug. Give it a plug. If there's anyone watching that watches this is going out to the wider community as well. If you guys want to invest in a good bet, these are the two guys that are making it happen. And contact them, and we'll do that at the end. When we sort of wrap up, I'll get you guys to give you contact points, because that's what it's all about. If people are out there making it happen, jump in, and that it's a safer bet than if they're not. So good stuff. Yeah. So sorry, I just sort of jump in and give you a plug. So keep going, Austin. Keep going with that.
Hey, plug anytime. But really, I think what's fueling a lot of our Ryan and I see it as, if you're looking at a pie, I'll call it a big pizza pie. We're essentially willing to take a smaller slice of the pie and give more to our investors to make it a much bigger pie. So we're looking to be very investor friendly, knowing that that's the fuel we need to really grow our business. And we just see it as such a value to be overly conservative in our analysis. We were just on a call, me and Ryan, before this. He was grilling me, why do you have it there? Why do you have it there? And we're just being ultra conservative in our numbers to make sure that even at the most conservative, the returns are good. And then you can ride the upside from there.
Yeah, great strategy. And I mean, you've probably seen in the wholesaling world that people pad the numbers and push things up where a lot of deals fall apart. I know this is a separate sort of area, but to be conservative is smart because it allows you some room down the track, doesn't it? So, and like you said, you're trying to take care of your investors, put them first, serve them first before you take care of yourself. So that's a great business model moving forward. And obviously, that'll bring you success because people will trust you and they want to work with you more and more. So that's fantastic that you guys are, got that mindset from the start. So good stuff.
Thanks, man.
No, and you should note too, it's kind of, we're also looking bigger. So we've got a letter of intent out right now for a 76 unit complex. And we were previously working on one that was going to be a $12 million complex that we just never were able to get the right pricing and walked away. And that's again, we were running conservative numbers and we knew what we had to hit, but we're looking bigger moving forward here. And we're potentially looking into commercial space as well.
Yep. Beautiful. That's good. The next question I wanted to ask you guys is, without going into too much detail, but just how do you do the deals and how do you structure it? Is there, could you sort of explain to the audience sort of how that looks without, like I said, you don't have to go into great graphic detail, but so, you're actually purchasing properties and you're bringing people in. So could you just sort of explain that a little bit deeper?
I would say, just to use round numbers, an example would be, say that the property is $100,000 and the bank is willing to give us $70,000 to go buy the property. We're going to bring in an investor to cover the additional $30,000. We're also going to have an acquisition fee baked into that. That's going to be a percentage based on the purchase price. And then there's also the rehab budget. So if there's some capital expenditure that's going to happen in the first few months of the property to get it up to rent ready or whatever that may be, then we'll bake that into the investor as well. So let's just call that $10,000 and the acquisition fee or management fee $5,000.
Yep.
So that would be, the total would be $115,000 if my math's right there. And the investor would be the one that would be bringing the $30,000 plus the 15, so 45 total.
Yep.
So we'd be bringing between the bank and the investor $115,000. That's gonna get the work done on the property, keep our lights on, and get the investor the right return on that. And then Austin, how would you describe the split on that?
It really varies based on the deal and the property we have, but we've got specific metrics that we Ryan and I built a tool that we use ourselves to analyze deals, and we've got metrics in there that turn green when it's a good deal. And we're looking for at least a 6% cash on cash return for our investor. And then we shoot for a 16% internal rate of return before any tax advantages are taken into account. And with those types of returns, that's really how we decipher what split we're able to do. So if we're able to do a 75-25 split, we'll do that. And if the deal allows for a 50-50 split, we'll do that. But as long as the investors, that's all we're doing.
And that's the split on cash flow and equity. So then we split the cash flow. Say we just do a 50-50, we split the cash flow down the middle. And then when we do disposition the property, then obviously the goal is to get the investor's money back as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And split the whatever's left.
Yep. Have you had any interest in an investor doing multiple properties with you? Have they said, look, I want to do another one? Or do you get that when you meet investors and you have the powwow and you sit down? Have you got a lot of people saying, look, especially once you've got ones up and running, do they go, yeah, look, I wouldn't mind doing more? Do you have that?
It's happened a few times for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because I guess, just with those returns, and like I said, you're going conservatively, you're not promising ridiculous stuff, which is still good returns, but you're actually, with your mindset of taking the investor, putting them first and wanting to help them achieve what they want to achieve straight away. You'd get a bit of what I'm talking about as people come back saying, hang on, this is too good to be true. I want to work with these guys again and again. So that's probably not a bad business model, is it? To actually give people what they want, and then they'll come back and they'll want to invest with you. So you've seen a little bit of that success already.
We've had one investor that's done 4 properties with us, another one that's done 2. And we've even had investors introduce us to their friends that are also investors. And that shows that's validation right there for us that, we're at least delivering on what we're promising.
And it's all timing, right? I mean, if someone's got a 401k that they're rolling into an IRA and they want to get that money working for them as soon as possible, then, put it in a self-directed, and hopefully we have 1 or 2 properties ready to go for them. Same thing with the 1031 exchange, right? If they need to identify up to 3 properties within that 45-day period, then hopefully we're there. So it's not just people we know. We're also running some YouTube advertising to attract these people.
I actually come across one of your Facebook posts a while ago, and it was pretty impressive. You just were straight up, bang, this is what we're doing, put it out there on Facebook. So that's good, because it's proven now. So you've got proof of concept, it's working, you're building up, you're getting a lot of people coming to you. So that builds the confidence, doesn't it? That means that you've got a good model. And what do you guys think about the way the market's going? Is this probably the best model? Cash flow strategies a better model than, like fix and flip and all other stuff that's worked in a hot market? Do you think this is the way to go forward?
Absolutely. I think the way Ryan and I are looking at it, and it's been framed to us as well, we're not the only ones doing this, but if you can figure out a way to scale your business where you're not using your own money, and then also you're building in your deals where you have property managers, you have contractors, and your time isn't also a limiting reagent, you're able to scale into a pretty big business at that point. And you just set up everything in the beginning. You set up all the processes. So that's what we've been doing, and it's going to allow us to go pretty big, I'd say, here over the next few years.
And you work. I was just talking to Ryan before we come on. You're working in one particular market at the moment. Do you think you'll expand, or is it going that well in that market that you've got enough inventory in that market to stay focused there? Have you got? Is that something that you look at down the track if you grow to maybe go to another market? Or
I think that, we're in Colorado. I'd love to do something local. I think the commercial space or even multifamily is something that we could do sooner or later. But at least for me, maybe Austin has a different take. I'd love to grow our business and get to a sustainable point where we're comfortable enough to make that leap and start having some fun in the local market. But for now, stay focused.
See, that's
Yeah.
something you guys
And
are doing this virtually. You're in a virtual market, aren't you? So this is a virtual thing you're doing, which is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I
Graham, we
think
know you're not living in the area you're investing, are you?
Well, that's true, but like you said, the virtual wholesaling is become quite acceptable and quite normal now. So you guys are taking it to the next level, and I'm seeing people that are in lease options and that's starting to do virtual stuff more and more now and sell the finance. And so this model that you're doing the same. You're taking it. You can take it pretty much anywhere once you've got proof of concept. You can take it anywhere, can't you? Because you're doing it from Colorado over the other side of the country. So that's something that people can watch and listen to your story and go, wow, these guys can do it from Colorado. I can at least do it in my market, and then I can expand from there. So what do they say? The world's my oyster. You can sort of just spread out. So it's really good, guys. Is there any sort of roadblocks that you sort of hit that you went, oh man, this, or have they been smaller issues? What I mean?
Oh,
Like, there's
yeah.
always something, a bit of a setback here and there, but have you had any major ones, or have you been able to sort of manage it where you've been able to keep control without things getting too out of control?
Yeah, we've had some roadblocks for sure. I would say if you asked us, like, right now we've got issues at hand, and then if you asked us a quarter ago, we would have been a different issue. And then before that, every quarter it seems like there's a new just like task at hand. And whether that's something administrative, like we spend a lot of time with our lawyers and drawing up the contracts that we use. And until we had a solid contract that locked in what we were saying from a legal standpoint and our relationship with the investor, that was a big hurdle we had to jump over. It's hard to do deals without a good contract. And now we have that, and now it's about executing on all the contracts and properties we have. We had one flip. We're mostly doing buy and holds, but we had one flip that we're on, I think it's day 90 of not being sold so far. And the construction took longer than we thought as well. So that one, we initially started out with we were looking at a 6-figure return, and now we're down much less than that, we'll say. So now we're still finding a way to, hopefully, actually, there's a person at the house right now that could be the solution. But there's there's different things that we're learning every time with every deal.
So the reality is,
I mean, there's going to be growing pains, even if it's just we found a killer property. Now we have to bust butt to find an investor for it and make sure that we're presenting it in a way that is realistic, right? And we always want to undersell and over deliver. And then as you grow, it's like, okay, now that say this $4.1 million multifamily or mixed use property gets accepted, then our gears really shift to, okay, now we need to go find a sponsor. Like we haven't done deals that big. So it's something we go find someone that has and partner up. And we have partners that have committed to hopping on board with stuff like that. But obviously it's deal dependent and it may not work out. So we may be in a spot where we have to find a solution for something like that as well.
Yeah. So you guys are realists. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. And it's good that you say that because people need to know that it's not all rainbow. There's obstacles that do come along, but you're solution orientated. You guys are looking always to solve the problems. So that's, I think that could be a motto. What did you say? Under promise and over deliver. That's a great motto, isn't it? Because if you can keep running with that, you leave yourself room for situations like this. You leave yourself room to be able to twist and turn and pivot. So good on you guys. And I know that you guys have been hardened, you've been battle hardened. You did a trip to Australia, right? You blokes have been out to Australia and you went to Newcastle, where Bogan capital of New South Wales. And you guys did a stint there. So I think from what I'd heard, Austin went there looking like Ryan with all clean cut and nice, and come back looking like Kurt Cobain. He really got roughed up in the pub by the Australians. So you guys are battle hardened. You've been in the pub in Newcastle, and you self-confessed Aussie bogans. You were telling me before. So that conditioning would have been good to come back to the States and say, all right, well we've been out back at Burke like Crocodile Dundee. Now we're ready to hit the real estate market. So that's good to see that you're battle hardened.
You know what hardened
Yeah, oh
us
yeah.
was getting up so early and going to Anzac Day.
Oh yeah, that's tough, but you got to do it. You got to do it, and that's a link for us Australian New Zealanders to the States, obviously, and the English with the World Wars, and that's still a massive tradition over here in Australia, is to celebrate what those people sacrificed for us. So I'm glad you got to experience that, guys. I got to experience it in Gallipoli when I was traveling overseas, which was amazing, and yeah, that's still a very proud thing. And I don't know if you guys would. They have the Anzac Day big game, the best club in the world. Collingwood play Essendon. They do 2 up. So it's a very big traditional day. And yeah, I'm glad you guys got to experience that, because that is big in Australia. And you guys are very cultured, so that's awesome. Now, I was going to ask you I put some questions aside, just some quick questions, and you can jump in. I just wanted to ask, firstly, what does your typical workday look like? Like do you guys work separately? You just don't come to the one place. So do you just have separate, do you do virtual stuff together?
Yeah, we do. Like last night we got together for a mastermind between some friends that all own businesses in their own right. So we get together then, but for the most part, we're talking virtually. I live about an hour and a half north of Ryan.
Yep.
But every day is different. We're doing different stuff. Today I'm starting an investor group in Colorado here. So I was working with the local Chamber of Commerce, getting the room set up where I have a recurring meeting in a conference room, and every day is different. We're just trying to scale and think of different things that we can grow our business with, meet more people, get ourselves out there. And we kind of come from the sense of, I think the more people that know Austin and Ryan Hill, the more deals we'll be able to do. And I think from what we've seen, people that do see actually what we're putting out to do business with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can see you're real people, you're real guys, and you're out there having a go. And like you said, I love the motto. I'm going to get the T-shirt made for you. Under promise and over deliver. And that's what you'll get known for, is that you make things happen, and you don't overpromise like a lot of people out there in the industry. So that's awesome. The other one I was going to ask you is,
Graham, I will say we need to give credit to our father for that. He taught us and the phraseology that he always said was undersell and overdeliver. Yeah,
that's good. Great fatherly advice. He's obviously a good man, bringing up 2 sons that have continued that mindset. Now, we're sort of going on time, and I want to do a shout out for you guys at the end. So I'll park those questions. They were a couple of just quick sort of questions, but the main thing I want to ask you now is, how far do you think you can grow this business? Like, now that you've gone through the teething period, the startup, the teething period, and you've had some obstacles, in your minds, how far do you think you can push this? How far do you think you can grow this in the next, say, 5 years?
Big time.
Big time.
And
is that
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think we're going to be, in 5 years, I would imagine we'll probably be in the commercial space.
Yep.
Austin and I are really excited to go that direction, but hundreds of units.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. So that's good. You've obviously talked and you've got goals, and that's good. And you're a young guy, so you've got plenty of time ahead of you, haven't you? So it's not like you're in a hurry. You can take your time and navigate it. And with the market, do you think the market's cherry ripe to go the way it's heading for the next 5 years, to be able to use your model to move forward?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So
when I left my job a year ago to go full time, we weren't quite, we didn't have a business that we were walking into that was already thriving, but we saw the timing of the market kind of with the end of COVID going on and all this jazz, where we had to start hitting it now, so that really right now is the time where we have all our ducks in a row and we can actually take advantage of the market, what's going on now.
Yeah, Absolutely. Just
And
another thing, guys. Who's? I mean, you mentioned your dad. Who's been some mentors? Who's been some people that have shaped you guys over the years? Now, obviously, you've said your dad. He's one of them. Any other mentors you've had that have been able to just really have an impact on where you're heading now?
Definitely mom too.
Mum, we won't let mum out.
He's coming up for Thanksgiving, spend some time with us. And I mean, we've learned so much from different folks in the business. The first person we ever talked to, Brian Elwood, he's a great coach. He's taught us a lot. And then this new mastermind working with him. What was that, Ryan?
Was he the guy from the Toastmasters?
Yeah, Brian Elwood, but he's a business coach now, so he's out of the real estate space.
Yep. And you still keep contact with him just to keep sharp, do you?
Yeah. He was over at our house last night.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's just always like to ask.
This, the new mastermind that we're in as well. We're with Nate Armstrong and Chris. There's a lot of folks in that group. Everyone in the group really that we're learning from daily. Today there was a call that was very informative, and hope to use some of the skills we learned from it.
Yeah, Nate is definitely teaching us to think bigger.
Yep, that's right. With that, like with any books and any podcast you listen to other than the Home Invest School podcast, any other stuff that's had a bit of an impact in you? Has there been any special books like, people come out with Think and Grow Rich and that? Has there been anything that's inspired you guys along the way, from that space?
Ryan's the big reader. I've kind of
numbers
guy, but I've never been a big reader, to be honest.
I really
what do you call audiobooks? Audiobooks. I left school very young, so I use audiobooks. It saves. I'm not a very good reader, so I'm with you on that one. You can go out mountain biking and listen to Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
So Ryan's the guy that absorbs all the information. And
my new one is it's a Stanford guy, like Stanford researcher. He runs this show called The Huberman Show, and there's just a lot of really good quality stuff in there that can enhance your life. And then one of my favorite books is The Power of Now.
Yep.
It's all about getting in the moment and enjoying life, having joy.
Yep. Well, I can see a mountain bike hanging in the background. You blokes have been out to Australia. You're in ski capital. So I'm tipping that you guys use a bit of leisure just to wind down a little bit. Is there active young guys? Before I come on, Ryan was saying that you used to be very competitive out in the backyard. So you guys are probably robust young mountain men, aren't you? And use these things to unwind. That'd be something that, and I mean, I'm not sure. I think you were touted as a pretty good football player. You had a stocky was the word, a tank. So all these things, the competitiveness, everything, basically get you to where you are now. So it's been awesome having you on. I just want to do a shout out, guys, just before we jump off. Just let people know where they can contact you. Where's the best couple of contact points to get onto you? And if there's any investors out there that have been thinking about looking to move some money into a higher return than, say, a bank and that, reach out to these guys. They've already got a proven product. Give it a plug, guys, before we sort of wind up.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, passive investors and also people that are active investors that want to connect. We're always looking to get to know more and network with folks, kind of a rising tide environment. But I would say text me at 603-998-3534.
Beautiful. You heard it there. What about,
wow.
Are you game, Austin, to put your number out there, or just leave Ryan get
that's a bold move, man. I was gonna say we started a YouTube channel recently, and every Monday I release a video. Every Wednesday Ryan and I do a Facebook Live, and in that Facebook Live we always put it in the comments, a link where you can actually see our calendar and schedule a one-on-one meeting with us. And we'll do a consultation for free, of course. And it's called the Hillbro Show. The Hillbro Show is our YouTube channel. And that is where some good information is.
Yep. Beautiful. That sounds good. I'm going to go and check that out. That sounds
Austin's getting really good at editing videos.
Yeah. Yep. No, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So if people go there, watch that in the description, there'll be some way to reach out to you. So that's another point. Ryan's going to be hit by 10,000 people in the next couple of days. So you may not need that, but all right, there you go, guys. Anyone wants to, watch the replay of this, you've got the contact points. Reach out to these guys, even if you're from, say, even the, social media blueprint world, these guys. I did some time with Ryan last year, and that connect with them and just network with them, because they're part of broader communities, and they're great young guys, and they're quite happy to have a chat. Probably a bit busy, but they'll still be able to point in the right direction. So that's been awesome, guys. I would like to talk about your AFL footy careers when you're out in Australia, and some of your pub antics, but we've sort of run out of time. Austin, did you want to finish up with anything, or Ryan?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do we have time for one Aussie story?
Yeah, give me an Aussie story before we go.
All right, so I was I think it was Ryan and I was walking back from the pub, and I did play gridiron football, and I don't know how. I still don't know to the day how this guy actually knew. Maybe just looking at me, but I was walking by, and we were in a park, and this bloke comes up to me, and he's like, "Moint, what position do you play in gridiron? What position did you play in gridiron?" And I said, "Linebacker." And he was about 15 yards from me, and he just says, "All right, tackle me." And he took a full sprint right at me, and I just popped him and took him right to the ground. And he was just laying on the ground like, what? And all of his buddies were taking pictures, and we had a good laugh about it.
Well, that's a pretty good story. That's sort of almost like UFC George Masvidal and
Yeah.
Ben. What's his name? Ben.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, where he took him the same sort of. They hit each other in the first 5 seconds, and one was KO'd. So you've got an Aussie story. That's good. So you can use that at the pubs back in America. Like, I took this weak Aussie bloke out. He had him covered. So that's good. Which is no mean.
He came running at me super high. You didn't have a chance.
Yeah. No, I think he what did he underestimated? No, he overestimated and under-delivered. I think that's his motto.
Yeah.
That's how
that's exactly what happened.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. It's finally great to catch up with you guys and get you on the show.
Thanks,
and
man.
Look, I'd wish you the best in the future, but I know you guys are going to do well, because you are out there. I've seen what you're doing out there. You're kicking goals. Just stick at it. Stick together as brothers and business partners, and you'll go a long way. Hopefully, I'll get you back in the show in a year or 2 years, and you'll be telling me about multi-family deals and how you're doing it that way. So keep at it. It's great to have you on the show, and I'll just do a final shout out for all the team that are at the 3-day event and all the people that are there. These guys are a testament of what you can actually do if you put your mind to it and you go through the hard yards and you stick at it. So well done, guys. Thanks for coming on. And because of me 2 Aussie mates from Denver, Colorado, you guys have been schooled.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We'll check out for now. See you guys. Thanks for coming on.